Well, hey guys, I'm Dr. Ben, founder of Well Health and Chiropractic, and if you are somebody who suffers from thyroid issues, specifically sleep issues and energy issues, you're going to have to watch this video to the end because not only am I going to explain to you the hormone reason why we're having thyroid issues, but I'm going to show you how to fix it. I have been blessed to be able to be a part of helping to fix a lot of people's thyroids naturally. Unfortunately, so many people wind up taking thyroid medication that really just masks the problem, masks an underlying hormone issue, and it winds up dumping later. Actually winds up dumping in your liver, and it's a big problem. So that being said, let me explain what caused our thyroid issue and what we got to do to fix it. By the way, if I'm talking to you, this is specifically the type of person whose energy is just shot. You're probably somebody who has, used to have a lot of energy. Maybe you were thin, you were like a cheerleader, and then you had a baby or two who broke your hormones, and next thing you know, you've put on weight, you can't lose weight, your energy is shot. Oftentimes we find that hair, like our hair gets thin. Now it's a different reason than me. I blame this one on my dad. But your hair will get thin, your energy's done. You'll wind up waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, usually for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's pretty miserable. So these are all hormone issues. So if that's you, not only watch this whole video, but make sure to share it with a friend or somebody because I'm going to give you some real gold nuggets. Okay, here we go. So you can see I've got 6 hormones up here. We need to understand the cortisol and insulin relationship, the thyroid and adrenaline relationship, and the progesterone and estrogen relationship. Now I'm going to kind of go over these pretty quickly, but just know that this is the science behind why our thyroid is screwed up. Okay, first and foremost, cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that is a stress hormone. Cortisol is actually what helps you to fall asleep and helps you to wake up from sleep. Cortisol is that hormone that stores fat. It's an opposite hormone as insulin. So insulin pulls sugar out of your blood. Cortisol kind of puts sugar in your blood, kind of. But it's a response to stress hormone. Okay? So how cortisol works is basically your cortisol spikes just about time you wake up in the morning, and then slowly your cortisol starts to decrease throughout the day. It hits its low and it's time for you to go to sleep. And then as you sleep, your cortisol starts to build back up, and then we wake up in the next day. That's a normal cortisol cycle. Now the problem is, when we get to number 2 here, is we wind up having an adrenaline issue. Okay, now adrenaline, yes, that is adrenaline as if I'm gonna go bungee jumping and I'm raising my adrenaline. But adrenaline is also it's a stress response hormone. So if you're stressed out, man, listen, if you're raising small children, if you've had a spouse who's maybe had health issues or maybe a trauma in your family, maybe you've got physical stress in your body where you've got a job that's really strenuous all the time, maybe you're not sleeping, right, just because you're not able to sleep, those all things stress your body. So when your body is stressed, your body increases its levels of cortisol, right? And it increases its level of adrenaline. Okay, so adrenaline is actually what raises your body's level of cortisol. Now, here's the thing. Adrenaline is the opposite hormone of thyroid. So when your adrenaline and your stress are high, this is suppressing your thyroid hormones. Okay, so just by being stressed, you're going to be taxing out your thyroid, and that's going to affect the way that you sleep and how your thyroid works. Okay, so if you learn one thing from today, know that stress will keep your thyroid inhibited. The third thing we need to learn here is with our progesterone and estrogen balance. Okay, so progesterone, we need to think of progesterone as more of our happy hormone, right? Progesterone is our hormone that helps us to get pregnant. It's our hormone that's good. When estrogen spikes, that's usually when we're we think of ladies that are hormonal, and that's when your mood gets more erratic, right? Estrogen dominance is a real problem. It causes hirsutism, it causes female acne, it causes women to have mustaches, right? It's a real problem. So what this has to do with cortisol and thyroid is your body produces a hormone called pregnenolone. Okay, pregnenolone is actually a precursor, and it has the opportunity to tell your body either produce cortisol or to produce progesterone. It can go either way. Well, guess what? If you're stressed out, guess what your pregnenolone will produce? Cortisol, right? Well, the problem is this will artificially keep your cortisol high throughout the day. So at nighttime, your cortisol is going to be high, and you're going to have maybe a hard time falling asleep. and that's a real possibility for a lot of people. They can't fall asleep because their cortisol has been too high throughout the day. The other thing that happens, and really this is probably the most common, is your cortisol, because you're stressed and your body, rather than produce progesterone, produce cortisol, your cortisol levels stay high, then in the middle of the night, they crash. Now this is bad. You want your cortisol to slowly taper off for you to go to sleep, but if while you're asleep, if your cortisol crashes, what happens is your body secretes adrenaline to redistribute and re-put sugar back in your blood. And that's a real problem, because basically what's happening is 2 or 3 in the morning, your body hits you with adrenaline. And this is going to be somebody who wakes up at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, that magic hour, and you're going to be like wide awake. You're going to be kind of a little bit like freaked out and kind of like mad at the world. You know what I'm talking about if that's you. You're mad at the world, and it's just not good. And you're going to be awake for probably 30 to 45 at least minutes, probably an hour. And that's because adrenaline has a half-life. And adrenaline is not going to just, you get spiked with adrenaline and it goes away. You spiked with adrenaline, and the adrenaline has to wear off. So you're like, you're surged, okay? So now why this is such a big deal is that stress is what's screwing up, and it's also not going to allow you to produce progesterone. Now this is somebody who's trying to get pregnant. If you're trying to have a normal menstrual cycle, you're not producing progesterone. That is a massive problem in today's society. Okay, so what are the 3 big quick fixes here? Number 1, and I want you to hear me on this one, sugar, right? And I know that as soon as I say that, whoops, that's an R there, sugar. As soon as you hear me say that, you're like, come on, Dr. Ben, I'm supposed to quit sugar? Guess what? Yes. We're going to show you, we have one of our ways that you can get connected with us is we have a website starting called fooduniversity.tv, where I'm going to really teach you how to unaddict yourself to sugar and some foods that you can do to stimulate your body to have normal cortisol levels without spiking it with sugar. Okay? A nice little trick here, by the way, this is a gem, this is a gold nugget for you, is right before you go to bed, if you take a handful of nuts, raw nuts, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, raw nuts, right before you go to bed, what that's going to do is that's going to actually level out your cortisol when you sleep, because there's no sugar in a nut. It's basically going to be good fat and protein, and your body can actually use that while you sleep. Actually can build muscle, but it's basically going to stabilize your blood sugar while you sleep, so you don't have that big cortisol drop. The second thing down here is that we need to reduce our stress. Okay. Now, you hear me right, because everything, when you're stressed out, your cortisol is high, it screws up your progesterone, secretes adrenaline. That's really what's happening to our thyroids. So, of course, I can't help you with your stress, actually, physiologically. That's on you. That's between you and the Lord. My favorite scripture that I hang my hat on is the scripture about even the sparrow doesn't have to worry about its next meal. And if the Lord cares, how much more, infinitely more does the Lord care about you? And really that's true, knowing that the Lord is absolutely going to take care of you in whatever you're dealing with. He's got it. Okay. Now that's a big piece. On the other side of things, I can help you with a few supplements in here. Now there's things called ashwagandha, valerian. These are adaptogen herbs that you can actually take that are going to help to suppress the effects of your cortisol. So that's going to be a really good thing. There's one we call called catechol. It's really, really good. So look for that. Make sure to sign up below here to grab our email, to get on our email list, because every week I'm putting out new, really just good content that's got a lot of these resources that you can take advantage of, as far as some supplements to help reduce our stress and really to pick up and boost our thyroid, cortisol, and progesterone, right? And the third thing is actually my favorite thing, and that's going to be the nerve issue, right? A lot of people don't realize this. This is where a chiropractor fits in. This is why I'm kind of becoming a specialist in thyroid issues, is because it winds up being a nerve issue a lot of the time. And you say, nerve, what in the world does that have to do with thyroid? It's real simple. Your thyroid is a butterfly-shaped gland that sits right here in your front part of your throat. If I cut the nerve to your thyroid, what happens to it? It doesn't work. It's completely dead. It wouldn't work whether you didn't have any stress, you didn't have any sugar, you took all the adaptogen herbs in the world. If I cut the nerve to your thyroid, she's done. Watch this. What happens if I pinch the nerve to the thyroid? It's going to act weird on you. You're going to have underactive thyroid, hyperactive thyroid. It's not going to work right. Usually what happens is underactive thyroid. Now, how do you get the nerve pinch going to your thyroid? You get a whiplash, right? Driving your car, you get into a car accident, sports injury, wrecked your bike, maybe you're driving a car too long, you watch too much TV, you spend too much time on your computer. That is definitely what causes pinched nerves in your neck. We found in our office that we have so many people that come in, and we have a lot of weight loss. A lot of people lose weight in here, in our chiropractic offices, in our well centers, because we wind up unpinching the nerves to the thyroid, and it picks up their metabolism. It's really cool, right? As a matter of fact, one of our patients, Cindy, she came in. She was exactly the cheerleader type, 110 pounds when she was in high school. Had a couple of babies, broke her metabolism, as she would say. She was 180 pounds when she came in here. Now she's beautiful just the way she was. But she had massive pinched nerves. She was having headaches and migraines, and we found that she had pinched nerves in her neck. And we got her adjusted, and we put her on, actually with her, we did, she went on to Food University, and she did at least the first 2 modules of Food University to reduce her sugar intake. She did the stress, reduce her stress with, really put her on catechol, which is one of our supplements. And then we worked on her, getting her adjusted. And true story, within her first 4 weeks of being adjusted, she almost lost 30 pounds. I mean, it's incredible.